You know, kiddies, I think this is going to be the best holiday season ever. And you know what'll make it even more special? Getting the little gift I've been dreaming of. Or better yet, getting a whole bunch of them. On the first day of Crypt, Miss My Ghoul Love gave to me a trip to the mortuary. On the second day of Crypt, Miss My Ghoul Love gave to me 2 murderous shoves and a trip to the mortuary. On the third day of Crypt, Miss My Ghoul Love gave to me 3...
Hey, Marissa.
Yes, Jackie?
Why does Scrooge like reindeer so much?
I don't know. Why?
Because every buck is dear to him. You just had the joy of listening to the 12 Days of Cryptmas. Yeah, they made a Christmas CD.
Yeah, it sold dozens of copies.
I'm sure it has. I mean, there are titles on it like Deck the Halls with Parts of Charlie, Jingle Bills, The 12 Days of Cryptmas. I'm not making this up.
No,
Please find it
I
on
wish
YouTube.
I was clever enough.
It's, I mean, I guess we're going to call it awesomely bad. Like, for us,
Yeah.
it works.
Oh, yeah.
But probably for most people, it doesn't work.
No, not at all. But we are going to be bringing you all the greatest hits from that album as our introductions. And we're going to be also treating you to some bad Christmas puns in honor of the Crypt Keeper and the return of Tales from the Crypt, which allegedly is going to be next year. So we're really stoked for that.
Very.
So tonight we'll be talking about the second of many Christmas horror films and productions, because tonight's isn't a film.
Yeah, tonight's a little special. Hey, everybody.
What's up? You're jealous of my intro.
I am jealous. I am jealous.
I've got the good
You got
one.
a catchphrase there.
I do.
Oh, I'm just like, hey,
Circa
everybody.
1992.
Yeah.
You're welcome, world. So we are back tonight, and we are bringing you all the best of our Christmas and holiday content.
A very merry Jersey Ghouls Christmas.
That's right. So our first, well, actually our second of many, because we just did our Gremlins episode, and now we're bringing you part 2 of our very merry Jersey Ghouls Christmas.
So tonight we're going to talk about not so much a movie, but an episode from Tales from the Crypt called And All Through the House.
So this episode was made in 1989. It was episode 2 of the whole series. It was the very first season, and it was done by Robert Zemeckis and Joel Silver.
Yeah, and Richard Donner and others. So we don't know. Those were the 3, when
Big
we watched
hitters.
it, those were the 3 big names that really stuck out to us was Donner and Zemeckis.
And Blitzen and Comet and Cupid.
Oh,
I made another joke!
Oh, look at that! Look what she did.
See, look, all natural there.
Yeah, but no, those were the 3 big names that really stood out, and Zemeckis himself did direct this particular episode.
Yeah, and actually he directed quite a few episodes of the whole series. And this episode actually starts out with one of the things that I think is the scariest, and that is Santa Crypt Keeper. Like, I'm gonna pop up, like, I'm gonna make him pop up right here. Like, you guys have to check out Santa Crypt Keeper. Something about that mask and just his little blue eyes, which are actually Chucky's eyes. I didn't say fun fact. Are you proud of me?
I'm so proud of you.
Those are Chucky the doll's eyes, taken right out of Chucky, popped right into good old Crypt Keeper.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and it is the creepiest costume ever. And he comes in and he does his bad puns, as we just did, in honor of the Crypt Keeper and his 12 nights of, what is it called?
The 12 nights, the 12 days of Cryptmas. The only thing I was going to say about the Crypt Keeper, just like on the creepy factor, it's, I don't know how to word it, the mask is just so plastic
and human,
and it's in that like grin with the big cheeks up here, and it doesn't move. You hear him talking, you see the eyes move, but the mask itself, the face does not move.
Maybe that's what does.
I think that makes it a little bit creepier. I don't know. There's something about like the big round cheeks, the eyes that move, and the face that doesn't move, and then it's and you know what's under it. You know what the Crypt Keeper looks like.
And the Crypt Keeper's not that scary, but put him under there and I'm terrified.
I don't know. I was always scared of the Crypt Keeper.
Oh, see, I thought he was hilarious.
You know what? I was not allowed to watch it. It was on HBO.
Oh, it was like forbidden fruit.
Yeah, and there was certain shows, like I was supposed to be in bed. I was not allowed to watch it. So yeah, like I would sneak and I would watch a couple episodes when I could, not even full episodes. Like I would just, if I was up, I don't know, I don't even remember how I saw it, but I know I saw it when I wasn't supposed to watch it. And the Crypt Keeper, I think he didn't have a nose, and I think that's what always got me. Like he had no nose, and he had like this straggly hair, and now I look at him.
His whole body was all like
now
decrepit.
I look at him and I'm like, oh, that's awesome puppetry. Like look how they grew. But then I was just like, that's a scary skeleton.
See, I always thought he was like
he wigged me out.
See, he was like the comic relief for me, so I enjoyed it. And thanks Mom and Dad, got to watch it whenever I wanted. It was never like my parents were like, you want to watch it? Bring it on. Go ahead. Good luck, kid.
No, his laugh.
Oh, see, I loved it.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
I did, however, jump every time. You know the intro that like slowly zoomed into the house and down the stairs and into the basement? No matter how much I knew it was coming, every time without fail, I'd be like, bah! And my brother would laugh, because rightfully so. Oh, also speaking of my brother, I was told to formally retract my story about the clown in the box. Apparently I got the details wrong, but I'm going to let him come on the show and tell the actual story, because it's way more embarrassing to me and way more hilarious the way he tells it. But I apologize to my audience for maybe confusing the details. It was traumatic. I blocked it out.
No, you had to like just piece together the images.
Absolutely. So one of the things we're going to talk about this season is why Christmas horror movies are so out of the mind scary. Like why they stick with you so much. And we're actually going to be posting some information about this, but it really has to do with taking things that we know and love and making them super creepy.
Episode 2 is called An All Through the House, and it stars Mary Ellen Trainor, who I most know from being the mom on Monster Squad. We find her and her husband sitting in their living room around Christmas time. The tree is lit, the fireplace is roaring, their daughter is asleep upstairs, and she takes this opportunity to jam a poker into his forehead. Her daughter comes downstairs to see if Santa has come yet, and she rushes her daughter back upstairs, doing her best to hide the body and the murder weapon from the daughter. She tells the daughter to just go to sleep because if you're awake, Santa won't come. The daughter complains about being hot or overheated or something like that, so the mother says, fine, I'll open the window just a little bit. Mom goes back downstairs and decides she has to dispose of Dad's body.
So that's when the news cuts in, and we hear that there is an escaped lunatic from the local loony bin. And he's dressed as Santa, and he's going around killing people with an axe. Presumably for being naughty. Yes. So she's outside trying to deal with the body, and he shows up. A struggle ensues, and she actually overpowers him. She like does what she has to do. She gets herself back inside. She realizes though that she's got a loon and a dead body. So she finally puts 2 and 2 together, realizes she can blame the crazy guy for her husband's death. She goes back outside, takes an axe to the body while the other guy's knocked out. She's got everything seemingly under control until the loony guy wakes up. Comes back at her, shatters a window. Meanwhile, the daughter's sleeping through.
Yeah, there have been screams,
broken glass,
phone ringing,
multiple phone rings from the police. Yep,
and the daughter is
totally asleep.
Totally asleep.
Yeah, man, I wish my kids would sleep that well.
So she gets herself back inside the house, away from the dead body, away from the crazy Santa Claus. Who is now awake. And in shutting the door, some jingle bells that are attached to the door start to ring. The daughter wakes up says Santa. So she sleeps through everything else.
Right.
She wakes up when she hears the jingling of what she thinks is Santa.
Seems legit to me. Also, this movie is painfully overacted.
And you know what though? I think they do that on purpose. I have a memory of seeing enough of
these
things where
they were all badly acted by good actors.
Yeah, I mean you've got A-list people and
doing
B
these
and C
really,
and D, but no, you do. Yeah. You have stars of the day, having these guest spots.
Now, what's interesting is that this episode is painfully overacted. But then again, I think all the Tales from the Crypt were, because you had these great actors and actresses overacting and acting like they couldn't act, and it kind of added to the whole thing.
I think rightfully so, because you figure these stories are based on comics.
Right. And
to bring those pages to life, back in the 40s when Max and William Gaines wrote for the EC
created
comics,
the EC world,
these images, you think of like the old comic images, and I feel like it's always the ladies like,
right, and the big dramatic monsters, right?
And I think to do, to
to do that justice.
To do that justice, yeah, you need, and plus when you have somebody like the Crypt Keeper, who is inherently larger than life and, you know, making the cheesy puns, and he himself is overacting, you know, I think it just lends itself to, you know, they brought the comic to film, and I think they did it really well, and it overacted and perfect.
Yeah. So this episode is based not only on the EC comics, but it's also a remake of an episode that was filmed in 1972 with Linda Carter as the villainous wife.
Oh, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's doing some naughty things back in the day. So she gets back inside, she locks herself in the closet, and then she realizes that he has taken a ladder, and he's climbing up the ladder above her to get to the daughter's room, where the window is cracked open.
Right.
So now she's like struggling to get out of the closet, freaking out, and the daughter, meanwhile, has put her hand out the window and be like, Santa, you're here! That's great, come on, did you bring my presents? I get it. You're a kid, it's Christmas Eve, a guy in a red suit is climbing a ladder, trying to climb a mirror. I mean, I don't know, I feel like I let him in. Even if he looks really creepy and slightly crazy.
I don't know.
I let him in.
You know what? It's something that we mentioned in our Killer Clowns episode where this gnarly, nasty clown is beckoning a child, and the kid's like, okay, here I come. Maybe, I don't know. Some bloody faced, scary man is coming toward me. I don't know. Watching it, I tried to give the kid a little bit of allowance. Like, okay, it's dark. She just woke up.
It's snowing.
It's Christmas. It's snowing. Maybe she couldn't see that well. But, no. Stop, children. Also, if I could just...
I'd have been like, go on in, man. Where are the presents at? Ooh, ooh.
Well, she even says, like, hey, Santa, where are my presents?
Dude, it's because a kid on Christmas Eve, one thing only on that mind.
That's true.
One thing. Think about it. Think about those days.
My ship.
Yep. So she finally breaks out of the closet, runs upstairs. The room is empty. She runs back downstairs, and Santa walks in with the little girl holding hands. And the little girl's like, Mom, Santa's here.
Oh yeah, you know, he didn't have to climb down the chimney.
So bone chilling.
She's like, yeah, I let him in. Yep. It's not a problem. Oh.
And what he says, naughty or nice, right?
Yeah.
And she just screams for an hour.
Okay, so she was so awesome in the beginning fighting him off. Like at one point he swings an axe at her, she grabs the axe, and they kind of strong arm each other. But
she takes an icicle to his face. Like,
but he actually gets into the house and she stands there and screams no. And
because she has to revert back to, going back to the EC Comics thing, she has to revert back to being the at the end. That's how those comics were built. The women sat around and screamed and were the damsels in distress. So she has to fit that 1940s mold. And that's what made these episodes so good in their cheesy wonderfulness. Like they just were such a throwback to the old days of horror that was just kind of cliche and corny and overdone. But I love it. You know, like I'm willing to overlook all of that because it's done intentionally. Yeah. And it works.
I mean, and I like the whole, you know, and this is a theme throughout so many Tales from the Crypts is, you know, the bad guys
gets
what they deserve.
In so many of these comics, it's always a bad person. And like you said, the Crypt Keeper clarifies that the little girl does not get hurt.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like that's
because it's an ambiguous ending.
I mean, it's, you know, we're like late 80s, early 90s. I feel like they probably had to be on the safe side.
100%. Because even HBO back then was not the HBO of today that we know and love.
The episode with the gnarly lunatic Santa covered in blood, like he just goes holding a little girl's hand. You know,
you have to clarify that girl's going to be okay. But I think it's very in line with like the overall theme of the comics, which was, and that's why reading them as a kid, you always felt okay because you were like 95% of the time the people who got it deserved it.
Oh yeah.
That's what like Creepshow and Tales from the Vault and Tales from the Witch and all of those were like built on. Was this thing of like everything fell into place at the end.
I didn't feel bad for the character.
No, you know, I don't think we're supposed to. Yeah.
I had zero remorse.
She was like killing her husband and run off with her lover. I mean, she was a villain.
I actually didn't really feel bad for the kid too, because again,
I liked the kid.
I'm on the idiot kid. Like really. That's what you think Santa...
That's
like,
fair.
okay,
That's fair.
I get that Santa's image is different in certain cultures. I get that, you know, we're generally used to, you know, a certain portrayal
I mean, in my
Santa.
Cuban household, Santa wore a Hawaiian shirt and shorts. so
He
you
was
never
chill.
know.
He was a vacation Santa.
That's right.
But no, like I feel like this kid. I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'm just in denial that I was ever that dumb kid that would have seen like a gross homeless guy in a red shirt and have been like, Santa, give me presents.
You're not Santa.
I don't know. Like then again, I also probably figured like the kids in No Danger. It's all
right,
about.
like
it's all
but
about
that
the
world
bad
is
guy.
very safe, right? So what works about this for you? What makes this one something that sticks with you and comes to mind when you think about great Christmas horror?
Probably just the utter creepiness of the Santa.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, both Santas are terrifying because the Crypt Keeper, like you said, has that very human, very holly jolly, like secure, traditional face over this horrifying thing. And then this guy is just dressed in this ragged old Santa costume that's dirty.
There's
and
like blood stains on the white
so
beard.
Scary, right?
And
like
then
the red on the white is so symbolic.
His physical features themselves, like his teeth are just
Ooh,
gnarly.
he's so scary.
And missing a few, he's got like kind of the bug eyes.
Yeah.
Like I think gnarly is just a very good word to describe the Santa. And of course his Santa suit itself is
so
ill-fitting and like the beard, like he has it pulled down further and like it's very off-putting. It's not Santa.
And like any good Christmas horror, it takes the things that we know and love and it turns them on its head to make us feel really icky. Like it opens with Have Yourself a Very Merry Christmas?
Yeah.
And it's slow pan over this really pretty tree, over to this couple sitting on the couch, and she uses the poker, she uses an icicle. There's so much, it's just immersed in the Christmas like elements that I love it. They get what makes a good Christmas horror movie, and they use it brilliantly because they're all a bunch of brilliant directors.
I mean, for most people, Christmas time is a time for family.
Right.
It's, there's a lot of, there's the joy and there's the family. The season itself is one of merriment and joy, So this is the time of year where I feel like if anything bad happens, it's
that
extra
much scarier.
bad
It's so much creepier,
because it's Christmas. You know, like someone unfortunately passing away, it's 10 times worse because it's the Christmas season.
Exactly.
If there is some sort of accident, a house fire, it's always 10 times worse
because it's
during the Christmas season.
100%.
And so for anything within the horror genre to take place during that time, I think it just makes it that much worse because, like I said, Christmas is the time for family and happiness and warmth, and we're giving and doing for each other, and
and we're supposed to feel
people are more charitable during this time of year. And when you throw in murder and axes and icicles to the face, it jars you. It does.
So now you've got 2 horror-themed Christmas specials that we have recommended. Gremlins from our last episode, and tonight, if you can get your hands on a copy of And All Through the House, the original Tales from the Crypt from 1989, do it. It's well worth it. And we are just getting started, because in our next episode, we're going to bring you our first of many top 5 lists. So this one's going to be the top 5 scariest horror Santas of all time.
I'm not ready for this list. I'm not.
I am.
I'm scared.
I'm gonna have nightmares. Can I dress as Santa for this episode?
Please.
Okay, I might dress as Krampus.
Can I dress? I was gonna say, can I dress as Mrs. Claus? But if you're gonna be Krampus, can I dress as Mrs. Claus?
Wait, I'll be Belschnickel, but like the Dwight version from The Office.
So keep checking back, because our next episode is gonna be one of our top 5 episodes. We are going to be exploring the top 5 scariest Santas. And I am not emotionally prepared for that because Santa is frightening. So you guys can find us everywhere on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Just look for the Jersey Ghouls. And don't forget to check out our website, jerseyghouls.com, where we update our blog with all sorts of articles and photos and links. You can also find our podcast on iTunes. And if you listen on iTunes, please don't forget to rate us. If you like what you hear, give us 5 stars. All the likes, all the comments, all the follows, it really does help us out. We want to get more content out to you guys. So don't forget to make your Christmas list for Santa and axe him for all the toys that you want this year. Hey, Marissa.
Yes, Jackie?
Hey, Marissa.
Let me get it out. Let me get it out.
The giggles out.
Okay.
Hey, Marissa.
Yes.
Hey, Marissa.
Yes, Jackie.
That was you.
Oops.